My name is Kevin Cook. I serve as the chair. Joining me today is Commissioner Shelley Bueller. Good morning.
Good morning.
Commissioner Bob Archer. Good morning.
Good morning.
Madam Clerk, if we could start with our first item.
Our first item is under proclamations, presentations. Number one, presentation regarding the Kansas Public Health Association 2018 awards.
Good morning, Commissioners. Linda Oaks from the Health Department.
Good morning, Commissioners. Linda Oaks from the Health Department.
Each year, the Kansas Public Health
Association recognizes
service and commitment to public health
through a variety of awards.
Shawnee County
has the distinction of having 5 of the 10 award winners this year. I'd like to take the opportunity to recognize those award winners today. The first I would like to recognize is the public health policymakers of the year. This award is given to local, state, or federal lawmakers who are public health champions. It was my honor to nominate Shawnee County Commissioner Bob Archer and former Topeka City Councilwoman Elaine Schwartz for this award. They were the champions for the Shawnee County and City of Topeka Tobacco 21 ordinances passed by both governing bodies in 2017. These ordinances increased the legal age to purchase tobacco from 18 to 21. Commissioner Archer first raised the idea of supporting and passing a local 21 ordinance for Shawnee County during the March 2017 Board of Health meeting and repeated his call for the ordinance during the July meeting. The ordinance passed during the August 10, 2017 Commission meeting, making unincorporated Shawnee County the 18th municipality in Kansas to adopt a Tobacco 21 ordinance. Commissioner Archer stated, and I quote, "This is something we can do. It is sending a message out that we strongly support the health of our citizens." Councilwoman Schwartz sponsored the ordinance for the city of Topeka. When asked if she would help with the effort, she enthusiastically agreed and facilitated meetings with the mayor, city staff, city attorneys, and health department staff. Councilwoman Schwartz guided the city endeavor during council proceedings and even postponed a medical procedure to attend the council meeting when the vote occurred. Councilwoman Schwartz gave personal testimony about starting to smoke at a young age and how she is now experiencing health problems as a consequence. This made the city of Topeka the 19th municipality in Kansas to pass the Tobacco 21 ordinance. Commissioner Archer testified at both city council meetings in favor of the ordinance. This effort has opened doors to help the city and county collaborate in new ways to improve the health of the community. Both Commissioner Archer and Councilwoman Schwartz helped recruit community partners to endorse the ordinances. They wrote emails and called many colleagues and community partners in support of the ordinances. These awards were given last week at the Kansas Public Health Association conference, and neither of them were able to attend, so I'm very happy and honored to give them their awards this morning. So please help me in congratulating these champions of health for Topeka and Shawnee County.
Thank you, Linda. I remember Linda when she was, I was at the Public Health Association. So it's so nice to see her to aspire to be what she's doing today.
Mr. Archer, congratulations.
It's my city council.
Mine too. Now I'd like to recognize briefly our other award winners. The Samuel J. Crumbine Medal, KPHA's highest award, is given for meritorious service and state, regional, or national recognition related to the improvement of health of Kansans and/or of the environment of the state. The first award was given to Samuel Crumbine, the Kansas public health pioneer who raised awareness about the common drinking cup and spitting in public during the TB era. Today, 72 years later, we honored Rick Kagan, the Director of Behavioral Health Tobacco Project for National Alliance on Mental Illness and the former Executive Director, as the newest recipient of the Crumbine Medal. Rick joined the NAMI staff in December of 2005, following 27 years as a nonprofit manager in advocacy in human services. And Rick, would you like to come on up, please? He has recently retired as the Executive Director of NAMI, but continues to serve the organization. Rick was honored for KPHA's highest honor for his outstanding and constant advocacy on behalf of people with mental disorders and their family members since 2005, and his trailblazing state leadership to change the culture of tobacco use among patients and providers in the behavioral health care system. Rick has been especially effective in the legislative advocacy. Rick's work during the 2018 legislative sessions, including 2 initiatives that achieved resounding success. One bill was focused on the continuity of care during incarceration, and one was expanding Medicaid coverage for tobacco cessation. Through countless hours of hard work and advocacy, both bills were included as provisos in the annual budget despite failing in the Senate. Rick's other notable contributions to public health include creating the home of a statewide initiative to reduce tobacco use and mortality among people with mental illness, numerous educational and outreach activities focused on tobacco treatment in statewide conferences and forums, and sponsoring a groundbreaking study on the economics of smoking cessation among people with mental disorders that demonstrated that Kansans would save millions of dollars by helping these smokers quit. Leading these efforts took courage because many leaders in mental health, both nationally and in the state, still are highly ambivalent about integrating tobacco treatment into their services. Rick has had tremendous success because he's such a widely respected advocate for people with mental illness, and his motivation stems from a deep commitment to their health and well-being. Congratulations, Rick.
Thank you very much, Linda, and I appreciate the recognition. This is a great honor, and I mostly want to give credit to many colleagues in our organization and our collaborators who've made this work possible. Appreciate the efforts of the Shawnee County Commission to take similar actions around smoking cessation. This is really important work. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Our next recipient is Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas Blue Health Initiatives, Virginia Barnes, Director. Virginia, would you like to come on up? Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas is a leading insurance company in our state, and they are taking big steps to create healthier environments and lifestyles for all Kansans through their Blue Health initiatives. Some of the programs include Pathways. Pathways to a Healthy Kansas is the largest community grant program ever funded by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas. The Pathways program provides community coalitions with the tools and resources needed to remove barriers and encourage their communities in ways that enable healthy eating and tobacco-free active living to become a way of life. The financial support totals $500,000 per community. Blue Cross Blue Shield is the presenting sponsor for Bike Share, ICT, which is Wichita's very own bike transportation system. And we know, because we were trailblazers in this effort, how great that can be to have Bike Share. The mission of Healthify Kansas is to build a world where no one's health is hindered by their need. By sponsoring the Healthify software and sharing it with partners, Blue Cross and Blue Shield is increasing community organizations' access to valuable service data. The project positions Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas as a leader in improving the social determinants of health and helping communities paint a clearer picture of their health needs. And the last is Go Noodle. Go Noodle online movement and mindfulness videos activate children's bodies and brains for use at school and at home. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas was proud to expand the program in 2017 to serve all 103 counties served by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas. As a result, all elementary school teachers through the Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas service area now have free access to the premium version of Go Noodle, helping them get students moving while deepening learning throughout the day. And Virginia is also working on multiple other programs at Blue Cross Blue Shield, and she is also given many hours to work as our Heartland Healthy Neighborhoods Chair. So congratulations, Virginia.
I just want to say thank you very much. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas is uniquely positioned to be a leader in health in Kansas as the largest and local insurer in the state. And we do think this is very important work. We appreciate all the partnerships we've been able to form, and we will continue to invest in Kansas, in Topeka, and in Shawnee County. So thank you.
Thank you.
And our final award is the President's Award. This award is given by the President of the Kansas Public Health Association at her discretion, and this award went to Christy Kane, the local public health program director and accreditation coordinator for the Kansas Department of Health and Environment. Christy, would you like to come up? The President's Award is reserved for those who demonstrate an unprecedented commitment to public health in Kansas. Christy is currently the treasurer for KPHA. During her tenure, KPHA had their account hacked, and Christy spent countless hours dealing with that. The organization did not experience any financial loss thanks to her hard work. This is just one example of her commitment to the organization and its mission. Christy serves as the accreditation coordinator for the Kansas Department of Health and Environment. KDHE achieved national accreditation in November of 2017. Christy led KDHE's successful efforts to this difficult task and continues to oversee the ongoing work needed to maintain accreditation. She's also director of the local public health program, coordinating activities between the state health agency, local health departments, and other public health community partners. I can tell you from personal experience, Christy is very helpful to us, and I plan to call on her when we need help with our accreditation process. She's a great partner and well-deserving of this award. Congratulations.
I would just like to thank everyone. I appreciate the recognition, and thank you for taking the time to recognize us today.
Thank you.
And would it be possible to get a picture of all the award winners up front? And would that be, so could you all come up and bring your awards and get your picture all together?
Not my show. Where's Lynn?
I'm right here.
Well, no, you need.
Oh, right.
You need to be part of this. Yeah. You're waiting on Howard.
Thank you all. Congratulations.
Linda, thank you for taking the opportunity to recognize all of the hard work that's going on in our community and all the work that went into making sure that the rest of the communities recognize the work that's going on in our community. Thank you to all the award winners for everything that you're doing, and glad that you're able to join us here today. And keep doing what you're doing, please. And so, Commissioner Bueller, anything else?
No. Congratulations to everybody.
And congratulations, Commissioner Archer. So.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate that.
Our next item.
Item 2 under proclamations, presentations. Presentation regarding the recently awarded commission for accreditation for Parks and Recreation to Shawnee County Parks and Recreation. John Knight.
Good morning, Commissioners. Randy Luby, Shawnee County Parks and Recreation. It's an exciting time for Parks and Recreation, and I thank you for giving us the opportunity today to do a little brief presentation on our accreditation. I'm going to take you back in time a little bit. If you recall, in 2012, the city and the county merged Parks and Recreation Department. It was shortly after that that you gave us the permission to go out and come up with a master plan for our department, and you signed the approval of that master plan in 2015. One component of that master plan, which was really big, was accreditation. Agency accreditation is basically the process of appraisal whereby parks and recreation agencies of all types and sizes demonstrate that they have met the requirements, national requirements and standards to provide ongoing quality programs, services, and facilities for their citizens. The governing body for the accreditation is CAPRA, which is the Commission for Accreditation of Park and Recreation Agencies. You can read some of the testimonials throughout from several of our colleagues throughout the United States. I do want to mention that we are now in the top 1.7% of all parks and recreation agencies that are accredited. So it's a pretty elite company that we hold right now, that we've met the standards to get there. The one that I kind of wanted to touch on a little bit is it brought us together as a team and a department. We started this process a little over 2 years ago, and we tried to involve our entire department. We came up with 10 captains for each chapter of our self-assessment. We came up with a review committee. We had a writer. We actually put every full-time employee on a team, and they had the opportunity to learn a little bit more about our department. Many of them took advantage of this opportunity, and I think it did bring us better, or brought us together as a team. They found out things of our department that they didn't realize, and it was really an educational process for us all. I'd like to share a video from our national conference that we had 2 weeks ago on accreditation.
We already know that we perform best practices within our agency, but being CAPRA accredited really ensures that we're doing the right thing for the right reasons and in the right ways.
Being accredited really does bring your organization to a top level. So you really need a rigorous set of standards that sets you apart from other recreation departments who are not accredited. Accreditation actually will sometimes highlight what you're not so great at. And to me, I like that because you're learning through the process as well.
We strive to be the best and do the best. We create a body of work. And that body of work has to be applied with excellence. And that excellence comes from standards. That's not about that.
We want to be America's premier community here in Henderson, and CAPRA is the most excellent way to show how we are dedicated to our services and Parks and Recreation for our residents.
We are coming up on our 20th year of accreditation. It is part of our culture. We every day live the accreditation standard shown through the excellence in how we do our programs and how we serve our residents.
You can respond back to the public and say that we have the best tools through CAPRA, through accreditation, that offers the best services to our community.
You know, we are making sure that the community is getting more health and wellness, they're getting more social equity, they're getting all of the pillars within our PA, and that's really backed up through the CAPRA process. In addition to that, they're getting good services. They're getting a certain level of pride that they can have in their Parks and Recreation services and the facilities that we offer, the programs that we offer, that you may not get if you're not going through the CAPRA process, if you're not accredited, if you're not reinforcing over 140 standards of excellence.
Parks and Recreation and the CAPRA accreditation allows us to be on par, and I would even boast as much to say that sometimes above some of those other vital community services. We're in the community every day. We serve citizens every day, and we're very proud of the fact that accreditation and the process of accreditation helps us be better.
You know, the elected officials are very happy they were accredited because if you were the mayor or a council person, what better way to show off your community than mentioning the park system is accredited?
There isn't any doubt that CAPRA does give us an element of added marker of excellence from a group that's really objectively looking at what makes up great parks and recreational facilities and the staffing thereof. Even though we get an awful lot of affirmation from our citizenry and what we provide, that really is a telling tale.
Peoria is proud of the significance of our CAPRA accreditation. It's an assurance to our residents that we are committed to providing them with the highest quality standards and an ongoing quest to be the best that we can be.
The network of now CAPRA accredited agencies is growing and growing every year. I would encourage any agency to take the opportunity to go through the self-assessment, to explore the benefits of accreditation. The process itself is a step towards improvement. Once you have accreditation, it gives you that credibility among peers and other professional organizations that you are following certain standards and you're trying to be the best agency that you could be within your neighborhood, your community, and across the country.
I would encourage other agencies to go through the CAPRA process as it brings everybody together. A small or big agency, you're all going towards the same standards and the same process when it comes to CAPRA. So if you go through this and you have to pull everybody involved, and it's not just one director or one administrator kind of leading the charge, it really does. It brings a sense of camaraderie, it brings a sense of excellence, a sense of continuous improvement that I think can really grow a sense of community within your Parks and Recreation agency from a whole.
How do I get that back? I don't care for that. There we go. That makes you feel good. I know as a Park and Recreation professional, that's what we got in the field for. It's exciting time. People have asked me, friends, relatives, other agencies, why did we go through this process? I mean, it's a lot of work, a lot of time, and basically, it's a commitment to excellence. I hate to steal the Oakland Raiders theme, but that's basically what it is. It's a validation of well-administered services to participants and the public. Ensures the quality of measures are already in place for success through written documentation, potential for external financial support, and public and political recognition. During this CAPRA process, we found out a lot of things about our department. We did a lot of things. We're on really close to being correct on a lot of things, but there were some shortcomings, a few weaknesses that we had. And this process is not the end, but rather the beginning. We realize implementing change in how we operate going forward will give us the opportunity to improve our responsiveness and accountability to both the public and each other, allow for better customer and quality services, increase efficiencies, again, build pride through the teamwork. One area that we really thought that one of the areas of our shortcomings was our written documentation of different things. We had a lot of policies out there, but they were out there, to be frank. And this process was able to put this all into one folder, and we have now set up a system of being able to go in and review, check, maintain all our standards, and keep a good track of where we are on accreditation. And we look forward to going that into the future. There's our accreditation that we received at our national conference 2 weeks ago. I would like to take the time to thank you, county commissioners, all of our employees, team captains, reviewers, as well as other departments that are sitting here. It wouldn't have been possible without our county counselor, county clerk, human resources, audit finance, corrections help. They went through this, even the sheriff's department. I picked his brain a few times. And it is a long process, and we'll be using their services again, I'm sure, coming up when we have to renew in 5 years. At this time, I would like to introduce Matt Enoch. He was our NRPA mentor from Fort Riley. He sat in on several of our meetings. He was there when we read a standard and just could not figure out what they were really asking. He also sits on the CAPRA Board of Directors. He was at our hearing 2 weeks ago. I'd like to have him come forward and with a brief presentation.
So, Randy, thank you. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, Mr. Knight. Thank you for having me this morning. I'm Matt Enoch. Like Randy said, I am the Recreation Division Chief at Fort Riley, Kansas, and one of the commissioners on the Commission for Accreditation of Park and Recreation Agencies. And John and Randy are very humble public servants, so I'll tell you a couple of things that they won't. Randy invited me over to share some time with them to help get them up and going with accreditation, and the help that I provided was it was very small in comparison to what I got back from watching them go through the process. I've been through many of these over the last 8 years, and I can tell you that John and Randy put together a fantastic process for completing the CAPRA initiative. I saw them put together a process that grew their team members, that brought leadership qualities out of team members that they may not have seen otherwise, which is one of the big pros of this process. I can tell you that of the 14 or so agencies that went through it for the first time this year, Shawnee County had a tough draw on a visitation team that came to go through their files and written documentation. They had the most thorough team that any agency had this year, and that's an honest assessment. So their product, not only did they do an excellent job of going through the process, their product was excellent. And there's a lot of credibility there when you have a very thorough visitation team go through your files and documentation and come out with an excellent product. They were very highly thought of in Indianapolis this year. One of the shining agencies that were there. They were thought highly of by NRPA leadership and by the commission. And I can't say enough good things about what they were able to accomplish. But like I said, it's great for the agency. It shows great credibility upon your leadership as a commission for ushering them through it. But most of all, it was great for their team. And it's going to be great for your community members. So they join Johnson County, the city of Wichita, and Fort Riley in the state of Kansas as our growing community of accredited park and recreation programs, and we have some great ones in this state. So as you talk to your colleagues throughout the state, please talk up this process and what it's done for them. And the last thing I'll say is that this is a living process. And CAPRA accreditation doesn't stop with initial accreditation and pick up once every 5 years. Randy and John have made a commitment to a way of life as a park and recreation professional and agency, and they are going to need your support, ever ongoing support to maintain accreditation and live by the standards. So thank you, commissioners, very much for your support. On behalf of the Commission for Accreditation of Park and Recreation Agencies and the National Recreation and Park Association, I would like to present you with a certificate of your accreditation. Congratulations and thank you very much. Sir, thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners.
Randy, as you highlighted, this was not an easy process. I know there was many hours of hard work that went into it, and preparation, a lot of stress that during the process. I had a chance to meet the accreditation team, and they were very thorough. They were very competent in making sure that we were on our toes. Angela, thank you for everything from HR. I know that we relied on you a lot, and Betty. As you mentioned all the departments. The one quote that you had, Randy, it talked about what you think versus what you know. And I think that, that's what I kept hearing when we had the reception and meeting with the accreditation team, was what we thought we knew versus now what we know, and where our weaknesses are. This is not about just highlighting your strengths, but also highlighting your weaknesses and where we can improve. Because we have a top-notch Parks and Recreation team, but I would like to see this to be the best Parks and Recreation department in the entire state, entire country. And so we know where we need to go next. So, Commissioner Bueller, anything? Go ahead.
Yeah, congratulations to Randy and John and everybody in Parks and Rec and everybody that contributed to this effort. I was thinking, we look at community surveys of Parks and Rec, Expedia naming Lake Shawnee the best place in the state to go, and now the accreditation. It just goes to prove that Parks and Rec, Shawnee County, is probably the biggest contributor to quality of life in our community. And I applaud that. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I would go one step further. I agree. And thank you, Randy. I know you've spent a lot of time on this, and so has everybody else, but thank you, John. I think this, along with the Public Health Awards, the focus on physical and mental health, that you two work in cooperation, and we continue.
Linda and I planned this together.
You did, and thank you for doing that. Well, because that's important, and I think there's still more work to do, as we know. health improvement assessments, a focus on community health, even with our businesses, so we continue to build. But this is a great foundation, and we've come a long way since 2012. So, no, I appreciate that. Again, physical and mental health, and that's so important for our community. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, our next item.
Item 3, consent agenda.
There are 3 items on the consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item 4, new business. A, County Clerk, number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Yeah, vouchers totaling $1,331,855.61. Pooled cash and payroll is most of that amount, $593,938.89. We have health insurance, administration, MedTrack, and Blue Cross Blue Shield makes up $260,829.17. We also, under the Sheriff's Office, we have Axon Enterprise, $34,698.04, and that is for the CAD interface with the Axon cameras. And of note is solid waste, which is an enterprise fund, non-tax dollars, $214,599.16. So if there are no questions, I'll move approval.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Bueller.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
I'll move for approval of the correction orders.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item B, Parks and Recreation, number 1, consider approval of request for a project budget totaling $30,540 with funding from the Capital Maintenance 3R Fund for Bettis Complex improvements to include replacing and installing drinking fountains and repair of cracks and seals in the current parking lot.
Good morning, Commissioners. Sean Osborne, Parks and Recreation. This is a sports item. This is something that is desperately needed there in the parking lot at Bettis Sports Complex. That portion of it, we will be going out for RFP. We are replacing a few of the drinking fountains within there to upgrade the quality of the drinking fountains to where they'll have the bottle portion of it as well. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions regarding this item?
I'll move to approve the request.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item B2, consider approval of request for a project budget totaling $35,174.50 with funding from the Capital Maintenance 3R Fund for repair of the Ward Mead Mansion's east and south porches.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Bell, Recreation Program Supervisor, Old Prairie Town. The attached request is to go out for bids to replace both east and south Ward Mead Mansion porches. Both of them are in pretty bad shape and at this point are kind of turning into a safety issue. So we would like to replace both porches. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Is there a opportunity for a grant or historic places, anything that we can do outside of?
Potentially, that is, we can certainly, and be more than happy to look into it. The hope is we need to get this done in a very timely manner because we do have a number of paid weddings and rentals that utilize that porch, so we were hoping to get it done after Apple Festival, so sometime this winter. So I don't know. We can certainly and be more than happy to research grant opportunities, but we would like to get it done this winter.
So it's kind of time sensitive on it.
Yes, sir.
Needing to happen. And you did mention we have a number of weddings, a number of receptions, events that occur with that Ward Mead.
That is correct. We see about 20 to 30 weddings each year.
Okay. Any other comments?
No.
Well, I just think it'd be good to be proactive.
Sure.
In looking for opportunities before they come to the commission.
And I might mention, we always are looking at and there are some potential grant opportunities with the Historical Society.
Right.
And so we have been exploring those, and I think the grant process starts, if I recall correctly, in February or March and ends at the middle of the summertime.
Okay.
I might be wrong on those dates, but So
is it just if we can research into the future opportunities for grant applications.
Absolutely. And I might mention, too, that we are in the process of repairing, the mansion has a number of repair issues, so as we move forward with that, we will be exploring all of those opportunities.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item B3, consider approval of request to return a 2018 Ford F-150 pickup truck to Enterprise Fleet Management for auction with the excess equity applied toward a future vehicle.
Morning, Commissioners. Brent Holsether with Fleet Services for Parks and Rec. We came in and talked to you a few months ago about the early order strategy. In this particular case, we have a truck that is assigned to an open position. We're not quite ready to order new trucks, but I figured if we're going to have a truck that's just going to be sitting, we would send that one in first to make sure that this whole early order strategy works properly. The numbers that I have show that truck's worth about $3,000 more than what we owe on it. So we'll give it the opportunity to replace the vehicle and actually have the lease payment go down. So we're just trying to give you some notice of what we're doing.
Okay. Any questions?
Move to approve.
Oh, Commissioner. Betty?
I just want to make one comment that your approval is also asking for, how did we have it worded here? The excess equity applied to future vehicles so that it stays within that lease policy.
So noting that, motion.
Motion to approve.
Made by Commissioner Archer.
A second.
Second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item C, Health Department, number 1, consider awarding the bid for a clinical laboratory improvement amendment lab director to Hickok and Associates LLC at a cost of $7,200 per year with funding from tax allocation dollars and program fees.
Good morning, Commissioners. Linda Oaks from the Health Department. These next two items really go together, so I'll just talk about it all at once here. So we are required to have a CLIA, which is the Clinical Laboratory Improvement Amendments Director, because we do some lab testing that does require the nurses to look at slides under the microscope. We do have some wave tests also, and those are more low-risk tests. Those include things like the hemoglobins we do in WIC, clinic pregnancy tests, rapid HIV testing. So we have had the same director for a long time, so we put out an RFP and got a couple of bids back. Our current director was the lowest bid, so we'd like to go ahead and award her the contract. I will tell you she's done a great job, and Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock, we heard that KDHE was coming today to do our inspection, so she got here, and she's here. And to tell you how confident we are in here, Carrie is sitting right here, not back at the clinic watching that survey. So I would ask that we accept this proposal for Linda's services, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? I'll move approval.
A second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item C2, consider authorization and execution of contract C321-2018 with Hickok and Associates LLC for laboratory director services and contract C322-2018, the business associates agreement.
And again, this is the contract now for Linda Hickok to provide these services for us for another year. I'd be happy to answer any questions about it.
Any questions regarding this item?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Our next item.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Item D, Human Resources, number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C323-2018 with ASI Flex for healthcare and dependent care flexible spending accounts.
Good morning, Commissioners. Angela Lewis with Human Resources. We'd ask that you approve our contract with AXI Flex. There are no changes to the administrative fees or services that they provide this year.
Any questions for Angela?
I'll move approval.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Bueller.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item E, Administrative Services, number 1, consider approval of request to surplus several vehicles, mowers, tractors, and trailers from the Parks and Recreation Department through Purple Wave.
Betty Griner, Director of Administrative Services. This is a request to go to sell surplus. These are items that Parks and Rec has put together quite a list, as you will see, of not only vehicles but equipment, mowers, tractors, and such. Brent is here from Parks and Rec, as you have heard from him earlier, if you have any specific questions, but otherwise we're just asking permission to sell these on Purple Way.
Any questions regarding this item?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Thank you. Our next item.
Item 5, Administrative Communications.
This is an opportunity for any department head or member of the public to address the commission on any item.
Good morning, Commission. Herman Jones, Shawnee County Sheriff. I just want to just give a little bit of a report of this little small event we had here in last weekend. Obviously, as we know, the President of the United States made a visit, and my direction to the personnel there, at least for our agency, was to make sure that we don't become an ink spot in history, and that was successful in the fact that the only news was what he had to say. And so I just want to say thank you to all the law enforcement agencies that were involved, and just kind of give you an idea. There's a lot of planning that goes into protecting our president. Other than the federal agencies, they rely on the locals, and I just kind of enumerate those that were involved in, other than our agency, but the Topeka Police Department, the KBI, KHP, Douglas County, Lawrence Police Department, MTAA, Silver Lake, and numerous law enforcement agencies that were involved in the motorcade on motorcycles, as far as Oklahoma, they came in, Missouri, many of them from across the state came in for that right there. And then all of our, and then Park Police, I want to make sure we have them involved with that, but AMR, Emergency Management, city and county. We had Topeka Public Works, and of course the Expo Center. Those are just the ones here locally that came into play, and it's a great collaboration. A lot is to be said to our dedicated employees to serve not just this community, but when we have a public dignitary that comes in that does it in fine fashion such as that. So I just wanted you to know that, and we're all good. We'll be looking at our after action to see, because as you know, I just named all that, there's a lot of cost that comes with that. And so we're doing our after action, and we'll be looking at what it takes, and also planning for the future in case this happens again. What were the pluses, what were the negatives, and those type of things. But I got to say, there's plenty of positives because of the protesters that were there, inside and out. There was not one arrest that I know of. So it was managed very well. A lot to be said to our community and how they behaved, as contrary to what some things have gone in other communities or so. So I'm very proud of our law enforcement and our partners. So anyway, just want to give you that.
Thank you, Sheriff, and thank you for all the professional work done by your department and all the rest of the law enforcement over the weekend.
You bet. Thank you.
Randy Luby, Parks and Recreation again, and I omitted one department that was vital in our accreditation, and emergency management. They actually came up with a risk management plan, policy, procedure for us, and I know Dusty could be out there watching, so I don't want to short him in his department. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Bell, Recreation Program Supervisor, Old Prairie Town. I just want to mention that we finished the 39th Annual Apple Festival at Old Prairie Town yesterday. And I just want to mention that we had over 100 wonderful men and women that came out to volunteer in the rain. It was a miserable weekend for the most part. I certainly have an appreciation for dry socks. I've never.
I was going to ask if you've dried out yet.
It was a rough weekend, but we had an amazing group of volunteers that took their time and energy and spent the weekend with us at Old Prairie Town. So I just want to say thank you to all of the lovely men and women that supported Old Prairie Town, and for all of those who attended. It wasn't the best weather, but I think everybody that came enjoyed themselves, so I'm happy it's over. And as we proceed, the next events at Old Prairie Town, we are taking Hearth Meal registrations. So if you're interested in the Hearth Meal, those are for groups of 12 to 18, and then our holiday happenings dinners are the first part of December. So,
Thank you, John.
Good.
thank you.
Thank you. Any other department heads or members of the public this morning? Commissioner Archer, anything?
Yes, actually, I do. And I noticed your solid red tie. It looks very familiar. First, let me say that it was an honor for the president to come to Topeka, and it was an honor that he was at our expo center, which I've said it many times, is our community meeting space. I attended the event, and it was quite an event and quite a spectacle. I did want to, Kellen Sipes had sent an email, and Sheriff Jones covered a lot of the thank yous, but I did want to mention that Kellen said we had a great weekend hosting the President of the United States on Saturday. The event was surely a highly publicized one that I'm proud to say was executed exceptionally by our staff and the countless county departments that supported in so many ways. We had an attendance that surpassed 11,000 for this historic event inside the Kansas Expo Center, and we give our thanks to all of the supporting departments and agencies that participated in making this event so successful. Saturday night, I did run into Kellen 2 or 3 times, and he looked like he was holding up pretty well. I have to report that. I thought the Expo Center staff did an excellent job in handling a big event. The turnout was outstanding, and I can only think of one person that would have greater turnout, and that's Darius Rucker. So keep that in mind, Kellen, as we move forward. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You know, I think you're going to get that Darius Rucker eventually.
Keep bringing it up.
Commissioner Bueller?
No, my thanks to everybody as well. I know it took a lot of time and effort, and I'm glad it was non-eventful, at least in, with circumstances. And I just have a question for John tomorrow. Do we have a rain backup plan for the Gage Park Trail? Because I just checked the weather. It says 100% chance.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yes, we have a shelter house reserved over there, but 100% rain in Kansas doesn't mean it's necessarily going to rain. I've asked for it to be open during the time period when we have our Gage Park thing, but we all have a shelter house available if we need to get in there and hold the ceremony in there.
Okay, good, thank you.
Thank you.
It's Snyder's shelter house. It's the Snyder's cabin.
Okay.
Okay, great. We have been holding interviews for the next Public Works Director. And I am happy to report that we have extended an offer, authorized Angela Lewis through Human Resources to extend an offer to a candidate, and authorized her terms, and I believe that we have terms that are acceptable. We will be making an item on the agenda for October the 15th to notify the public of this individual and who will be the next Public Works Director for Shawnee County. There's a lot of work that went into this. I want to thank all of the candidates that did apply, and thank Angela and Tom for their hard work. I know that Mr. Flanagan will be happy to see the next Director of Public Works. But so October the 15th, we should be talking about a motion to approve a new Director of Public Works. Our next item.
Item 6, executive session.
There is not a need for an executive session.
Not have a meeting.
And we do not have a meeting on the 11th, so our next meeting is October the 15th. We are adjourned.
End up okay.